All right, in this video, I'm going to be breaking down a live high ticket sales call that one of my clients did, and I'm going to show you where you are subtly losing deals every single month. Let's dive into it.
Before we go into it, why do you think, tell me what happened. Why do you think she felt like she needed to think about it? Why didn't she get a deposit on the call? Give me a little more context.
Yeah, I think personally, two things. Well, one, I think, mute your mic.
Oh, my bad.
One, she was scammed in the past.
Yeah.
Thought I handled it pretty well. Maybe could have done a little better. And then probably the second thing is just going deeper into the pain. I think I could have really digged into that to make her feel like she's got to get going on this now,
Mm. Also, with the new ads, we're going to give them a few days. See what happens. Okay. They look good. I saw them.
Cool. Well, hey, Brooke, how's it going? Can you hear me?
Hello. Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
I can. How you doing?
Doing well. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. You been having a week so far?
Yeah, not too bad. We're actually, my daughter and I are going to go to Arizona on Friday. So
Nice. That's
yeah,
awesome.
go back home.
What do you got planned over there?
Just visiting family. We haven't been back since Christmas. So
Nice. Cool.
yeah.
Awesome.
Where are you based out of?
I'm based out of Florida. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So moved down here a couple months ago, but love it. So
That's awesome.
yeah. All right. So I know we got a limited amount of time here. You cool? We jump right in.
Let's do it.
All right. So I know we got to speak a little bit. Got to give you a little background on yourself, but kind of just want to learn a little bit more. Kind of see what the end goal is here. What really caught your attention? What really wanted me to do? Schedule a call with me and see how we can help.
The hooker that kind of caught my attention was when you stated you because I've been doing a ton of research. I spent thousands of dollars on classes. I've done the BRRRR method. I've done land flipping. I've done another ecom online thing, and just nothing is sticking. And my tax strategist tells me I need to get into real estate somehow. And so I'm just trying to work smarter, not harder, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. Okay. Awesome. We'll dive into all this stuff. I guess ultimately for you, I know you said you're a single mother. God bless. You have a young daughter. Glad to hear. Big picture. What's this ultimately that vision that you have?
But I'm just going to give you a few things. So stuff like that, I'm not saying that's why you didn't close the deal, but you have to take it out. Why are you saying that? Do you really give a shit that she's a single mom? God bless her.
No.
No, so don't fucking say it because it's inauthentic.
Okay.
So every time you do something, it's not that you can't say that if you truly believe it, but every time you do something inauthentic, people can feel that. And that creates more skepticism. That erodes trust. Because your sub-communication, when you do something inauthentic to get someone to like you, to try and build rapport, oh, you're single mom, God bless your heart, you're a veteran. And if it's not true, if you really don't care, they can feel that subconsciously. And then it makes them think, you know what? I got to think about this. Again, I'm not saying that's the reason that you didn't close this, but you do that enough in a call and it will cause issues. Sales, what we're doing here at its core is bro, you just got to be authentic. You run a fucking multi-six-figure Airbnb business. You got a fuck ton of properties. You're really good at helping people. Just be yourself. And if that's not something that you actually care about talking about, don't talk about it. The more you become who you are, the more effortlessly you'll close sales because they will feel that from you. Just authenticity. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's not manufactured. That's just you. Okay.
This does what it says that you guys are saying. You can make 10, 20, 30K per month. And yeah, I can be a stay-at-home mom and be able to raise my daughter.
Okay. Awesome. Cool. And then as far as a monetary goal.
And just if this does what you guys say, when people say shit like that, that just boom, it immediately shows your skepticism. Right? So I would have tackled that right there. Be what do you mean? If and just start going into the skepticism, working on it. Okay. Because that's just a super big trigger word. If this does what you guys say, right? And I would, with people like that, what they are expecting is for you to sell them. Especially if they've been scammed in the past, they're expecting you to say, oh, this sounds great, this big thing, this big hoopla, whatever it is. So do the opposite. Just be listen, yeah, you can 100% do that, but it's not going to happen tomorrow, right? Our clients that are doing 10, 20, 30K a month, they've been with us for well over a year, right? They've worked really hard. So you almost want to downplay it to seem more realistic for that type of person, because then they're going to trust you more because you're just being more realistic. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. This came up a couple of times too with previous calls. If if you guys say we're going to profit 800 to 1,000, like, yeah, then you know what I mean? So I definitely think I could jump in there.
Yeah, you can, when someone is saying that, like, if you say like, well, let's just role play quickly. Go ahead and just be like, well, if you're saying that, see what you say.
Yeah. Well, yeah, if you guys say this works, and I can make 10 to 20 or $30,000 a month.
Yeah, 100%. When you say like, if, like, what do you mean by that?
Yeah, I think just like as far as what you guys are saying, that I can profit $800 to $1,000 per bedroom. If that actually works, and if this Airbnb model works, then I can actually do it.
Yeah, totally understand. I guess I gotta ask, like, with everything that you've seen, like, why do you think like it might not work?
Yeah. Honestly, I just don't think I know exactly too much about the business model. So like I'm not kind of understanding it 100% yet.
Okay. So is it more so about not knowing about the business model, the ins and outs, rather than like if it's possible? Or is it that like you just don't even think you could even achieve that?
Yeah, no, I think just not knowing enough about it yet.
Okay. So you have to have that understanding. Like that's what it's really about. Not that you don't think you're capable of being able to do that, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Well, good news is like that's the purpose of the call today, so that we can actually build out a specific plan for you to show you how you can ramp up to that. Because listen, obviously you're not going to get the 10, 20, 30K a month, tomorrow. It's going to take some time. We'll build out that plan. Now, earlier you were saying blah, blah. Okay, so do you see what we did there?
Yeah.
Right. So one, I just address it. I don't let it sit because that's in the back of your mind. Right. Two, I push it like, hey, like this is realistic. It's just gonna take some time. And then the other thing, more importantly, I don't know if you noticed in my words I was using, but like I kind of pinned it back on her. I asked her a question. Hey, is this more so about you just like not having an understanding of how it works, or is that like you don't believe that you could do this? So I put that on them. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Because then, like, think about it. What are they more likely to say? Like, if someone's ego wants to be correct. So if that's essentially that's a confrontation of her ego to say, oh, is this like you don't think you can do it? People are like, no, of course I can do it. Oh, okay, cool. So that's the other one.
Yeah.
It's just that you need more information. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I don't make it a bad thing. I don't make it a big deal. I don't make it seem like they're attacking us or they're not trusting us. I'm just like, oh, of course, yeah. Like you need more information. Like totally understand. Like that's what we're gonna do today. Like we're gonna build out a plan. Like it's normal. It's good, right? If you make a big deal out of it, it becomes a big deal for them. But you're saying, oh yeah, it totally makes sense.
Right. Like what are we looking to realistically do profit wise per month with this business?
Ultimately, I'd love to at least be like 15 to 25. Okay.
Okay, cool.
Like work my way up to that. Yeah.
Sure. 100%. And that's like totally doable. Honestly, like sky's the limit, right? Who doesn't want more money? Profit wise per month with this business.
Ultimately, I'd love to at least be like 15 to 25. Okay.
Okay, cool.
Like work my way up to that. Yeah.
Sure. 100%. And that's like totally doable. Honestly, like sky's the limit, right? Who doesn't want more money?
Again, that's eroding trust. Oh yeah, totally doable. Bro, think about it. That's what every fucking salesperson says. Especially if someone's been scammed before. What do you think every fucking conversation with a remote closer was like? Oh yeah, dude. You want to make 20K a month? Oh, you fucking crush that. Yeah, like easy.
Yeah.
She's expecting that. And then you're playing into that. So obviously you don't be like, oh, you're not going to achieve that. Instead, be like, okay, great. Yeah, well, like typically our clients are probably about 800 to 1,000 per day. Okay, so just for easy math, let's say you had 5 3-bedroom homes. Okay, obviously it's not gonna happen tomorrow. Take some time to scale there, but I think it's realistic over time. That would get you $15,000 a month, roughly in profit. Obviously, give or take a little bit, and then just move on. But when you inflate it, you're overselling, and when you oversell, it erodes trust. And you have someone who's already skeptical coming to the call, it makes it worse. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's keep going.
Yeah.
Good job on the deposit. When is your follow-up with her?
Tomorrow at 6:30 p.m. Sending a link now.
So what's the premise of the deposit though?
Just to think about it for her, to sleep on it.
Why? Is that the way she's always made decisions?
No, I mean, she basically just said that pretty sure her exact words at the end were, I want to make sure that, I'm making the right decision with this.
That's uncertainty. So I mean, it's good you got the deposit. Ideally, though, like it's probably fear of like scam. We want to try and work through that. So like, let's take the frame of this call of how could we have turned this into a one call close. Like, let's take that frame. Okay.
Okay.
Because when you deposit on fear, I'm not saying that you can't make it work, but it's harder because she's going to think about all these things that she's afraid of, she's uncertain of, all the bad stuff is going to come to her because that's the only reference experience she has. So just expect that when you get on that call tomorrow, there might be some work. I always expect with the deposits that I have that like they're probably going to throw me more objections on that next call. I just mentally prepare for that to help me out. Okay.
Yeah.
And just understand you might have to do some work. So let's see what we got.
But like the reason why I'm asking is just like all our clients right now are seeing about $800 to $1,000 in profit per bedroom. You probably heard me talk about that in the video that you watched. And profit per bedroom, I mean, so like say we're working with like a 2-bedroom apartment. Okay. So I guess like how long, a genuine question I have for you is like, how long have you been trying to, get to this goal of $15,000 to $20,000 per month?
I've really hit it hard like the last 9 months. So just trying to do my research and trying to see what works. And like you said, with the BRRRR method and even just fix and flips and stuff, you have to have a ton of down payment.
Yeah.
And that's kind of my I don't have liquid assets right now. They're kind of,
so, I got you.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. And you mentioned that you were in software sales.
I am. Yeah.
Awesome. How's that going? How long have you been doing that for?
Just over 2 years. So yeah, it's been good. So
You like it?
sorry, I didn't really have anything else to say.
You can still hear me, right?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, cool. All right. Well, I mean, I got to ask you, right? Like, sounds like everything's going okay, right? I know like you tried a couple things, but like after 2 years, what's really made you draw a line in the sand and make you say, I got to find a way to replace my income?
My baby girl.
Okay.
Yeah, she just put life into perspective and leaving and having her, like even this morning, I left to go to work and she's crying. Like,
I got you.
And that's why I'm trying to work hard to be by her. And I mean, once school starts for the kids, I mean, you're not with them 24 hours a day anymore. So trying to be part of her life as much as I can.
Sure. Gotcha. Okay. So real end goal here, trying to just replace that income. Obviously sky's the limit, long-term goal, you stay at home mom, provide for her.
Yeah, you got to throw out that sky's the limit shit.
Be there, spend time with her.
Yeah.
What's really been holding you back from like kind of doing this now? I know you mentioned you've been trying all these things. Like the past 2 years, what exactly have you tried? I know you mentioned a couple to me, but
yeah, I tried the BRRRR method. I was going to close on this place and then I actually, I got scammed. And
really?
Yeah.
She said she's been going hard for the past 9 months.
Mm-hmm.
You're doing good. I'm just giving you like a subtle tweak. I would just use the words 9 months. Anytime you can use their words, it'll help you out a little bit more. But like you're asking the right questions here. Like, hey, what's held you back from doing it? Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, I'm just a private money lender. He just completely scammed me. And
wow.
He seemed like he came from a referral. And so I was, So financially trying to recover. Oh, it's okay. I mean, live and learn. Frustrating, but yeah.
Sure.
So
I know the pain. Like I've been there too. Like I've gotten scammed.
Let her talk. Like, oh my God, like, well, what happened? Right? Because like there's going to be something underneath this of how we're going to have to reframe her beliefs. Like we need to see where she's at. Like if she's gotten scammed, why is she still looking? Now, obviously, it's kind of a different situation because it's from like a lender. But I'd like to learn a little bit more about that. And then I'm going to want to wonder, ask, like, I got to ask after experience like that, what's got you continuing to reach out to people? Right? We might need to reframe some beliefs there.
Scammed and like, it sucks the way like technology is nowadays, right? It's like how can you actually see like what's legit, what's going on? I guess like my question for you is like, what made you feel comfortable enough to like schedule a call and get a meeting with me?
With you?
Yeah.
I was just watching your videos. They kind of your story resonated with me in the sense of like an athlete and trying all these methods. And
good job handling it that way. Again, I just like let her talk a little bit more to get a little bit of information to get a little bit more. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense?
Yeah. 100%.
Like I have been there. That's exactly what I've been doing. And then you're very transparent with how much you need down.
Sure.
How much you need. It's not like here's a hidden fee and then you have to add this on, have to add that on. Well, maybe there's, but
right. No, definitely not. Yeah.
So I appreciate the transparency and being an athlete, I kind of want to go all in and know what I'm up against, right? Scouting report.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, like, I guess for me, like we're up front with all of our clients. Like when we're meeting with clients and like this is a done fee program, right? It's a lot of work on our end. Like we need our clients to get results. That's how I grow. That's how my company grows. So I guess like for you, like put yourself in the shoes. Like how does that make you feel? How we kind of do things here? How our company, actually transparent with people and like actually trying to get them results. How does that make you feel?
I mean, first of all, it's kind of like unbelievable because there's not really a company out there that does everything for you.
Yeah.
You have to do a lot. But also kind of like the competitor needs. I appreciate you doing that too, but I kind of want to get in the weeds with you and learn alongside and learn how to help be a teammate and an asset. And that's kind of my approach.
Yeah. Again, like she keeps bringing up stuff of like unbelievable, not trusting, like you can smell it from a mile away.
I feel like I could have framed that question better too.
Oh yeah, 100%. That was not the best way to frame it. So if you were going to redo that, how would you have done it?
Honestly, I would have said something probably like, honestly, it would have just been way shorter. I would have been like, well, how does that make you feel of how we operate here at our company? Or like, what does that show you of how we operate? Like something along the lines of that.
Yeah, I would have made it like very casual because it's a very like they kind of know what you're doing when you ask a question like that. So instead, it would just be like, yeah, I guess like, how does that make you look at us as a company? Like knowing what we do, like, what do you feel like that kind of says about us maybe compared to some other people out there? Right? Compared to some other people. Now she has to juxtapose us and put our value higher than theirs. Okay. But really what I want to dive into here is like the other shit that she's tried and why it hasn't worked. So she said the verb, like I really need to hit on the other stuff. Okay. Yeah. And additionally, I need to hit on the 9 to 5. Why is the 9 to 5 not allowing her to get the time? I need to hit on every single thing and eliminate it.
We're going to dive into exactly like really detailed oriented, like how we're going to do things. Like, yes, this is a done for you program, but like the whole goal is like after our time is up, like you're equipped with all the skill sets to continue scaling the business. You know, so we'll dive into that here shortly. You mentioned BRRRR method, land flipping. What else have you tried?
I've tried also doing an e-com, like just getting my feet wet with that. But then the way the market was going and then Amazon stuff, like I've just dabbled, but the ones that I spent the most money on was the BRRRR method. And then also the land. It's called the Land Geek. So
nice. What happened with the BRRRR method? Like what happened there?
That's the one I got scammed on. And so
okay. Oh, I thought it was the land stuff. Okay.
Yeah. No. The land I just had to put on pause just due to liquidity.
Okay. So I guess for you, like I gotta ask, like, what is it?
Yeah, you're not going deep enough, dude. Like you gotta go deeper. Like the point, I drew this in a video that I have coming up. Here, let me which is so do you see my whiteboard?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So when you're in that section, like you got to eliminate every single possible vehicle. Like, yes, she is talking about the things, but like you really want to cement it. So if the person's here and they want to get to the goal, so for her it's 15K a month, more time. She has all these options. She has her 9 to 5, which like you didn't really eliminate.
Yeah, I didn't.
You never probed into it. You never probed into how much she's making, how much time she's spending there. Why can't she be more remote? So I'm going to scroll back to the actual video. I'll show you a second. And then she brought up e-com, and then she brought up land filming, and then she brought up the BRRRR. Okay. And so what you have to do is systematically go through each one and basically say, okay, with what you're doing, why has it not allowed you to get to this goal? Right? You eliminate. And that leaves the only thing which is going to be your product or service, which is Airbnb, right? Because part of getting someone to take action on that first call is really to get them to the point of realizing there's nowhere they can go. There's no options left. It's the only thing that makes sense. Because when you bring someone to that point, like, fuck, I guess it makes sense. It's what we have to do. If you're stuck in downtown Miami, and let's say there was no Ubers around, and the only way you could get home was a yellow taxi, you're going to walk, you take a taxi.
Yeah, take a taxi.
Yeah, you're not going to sit there and think about it, right? You know what I mean? So that's the point. So let's go back into it and see what we can do.
Okay. Is it about Airbnb that kind of makes sense or make it feel like it's going to be better than e-com, the BRRRR method, the land investing, everything that you've tried, like as a way to replace your income? Why do you think Airbnb can get you there?
The direction that Airbnb is going, and rentals in general, and I actually have been looking to get into Airbnb and like the SDR game, and with like the Smokies and stuff like that. Watching your video, you have a different approach to it. It's and you're not targeting the tourists, the vacationers, and people that might come and party and tear up the place. And so be by her. And
going all the way back.
Once school starts for the kids, you're not with them 24 hours a day anymore. So trying to be a part of her life as much as I can.
Sure, gotcha. Okay, so real end goal here, trying to just replace that income. Obviously, sky's the limit. Long term goal, you stay at home mom, provide for her, be there, spend time with her.
Yeah.
Cool. So I guess for you to be able to do that, what would it really take for you to be able to be home and not have to go to work? Like, what would it take for you to replace your income? So number one, you're financially qualifying, but two, more importantly, you're seeing what you would need. And it's probably 15K. She's software sales. She probably makes 15 to 25, somewhere around there, right? And then she's going to tell you, okay? Now, the next logical question, the easiest way after that is say, I got to ask, like, what is it specifically about your role right now that's not actually allowing you to be there as much as you want to be for her? And like, you kind of act dumb like a kid. Like, even though, it's obvious she works a corporate job, she's busy, like you have to act like you don't understand it so that she can explain. And she would probably say something like, oh, well, like I have to work, 10 hours a day and I've got to be in my office, et cetera, whatever. Right? So let's role play this solution part so that you can understand it. Okay. Cool. So I hear what you're saying in terms of wanting to get more time to, spend with your daughter, especially as she's like a newborn, right? I guess for you to be able to walk away from what you're doing right now, like how much would you have to make from something like this to be able to say, you know what, I'm able to walk away now and I can just spend time with her?
Hmm. Yeah, probably like $15,000 to $20,000 a month.
Okay, cool. And so, like we had talked about, that'd be about 5 months. I guess for you, what is it about the role right now that's not allowing you to have the time to spend with her in the way that you really truly want?
Yeah, I mean, mainly it's just because like a lot of the calls and the meetings, like they're super time consuming. So
Mm,
like I'm still trading my time for money, and I'm kind of
yeah,
tied up throughout the entire afternoon. So, even if she is at school, it's tough for me to on the weekends to spend time with her if I'm
yeah.
catching up and doing work related stuff.
And you don't see any way to like outsource that in your job or anything? Like that?
No, unfortunately not, just because like I got to be there for the meetings, and then especially during the work week, like I'm taking the calls. So
Yeah, yeah, of course. Okay. So basically what you're saying is like you're looking for another avenue that can kind of take you out of that trading your time for money dynamic so you can get your time back, right?
exactly.
Okay. Well, I gotta ask, because I know you said like for the last 9 months you've kind of really kicked it into gear, like trying to find something. Like, what do you think has really held you back after 9 months, not being able to find something that can just replace your income?
Mm. Yeah, I think just I've tried a couple things and nothing really stuck
Mm,
for me, but um
mm.
just uncertainty and like not having the proper guidance and finding that correct thing that's going to allow me get to that end goal of stop trading my time for money.
When you say that correct thing, like how are you going to know when you found the right thing for you?
I think just like finding someone that I know that I believe in and like has the
Mm,
guidance to like steer the way for me, but also like coach me along the process to have that
sure.
reassuring feeling.
Okay. I guess when you say like give you that reassuring feeling, like what specifically do you feel like you're going to need on like a day-to-day basis from a mentor to know that you have someone who's got your back?
Definitely just like someone I can reach out to whenever I need to, and like
Mm,
understanding, obviously the problems and difficulties I'm going to face, but then also like how to overcome them at the same time.
okay. Okay, so let's talk about it. So here's where we're at so far in the process. So number one, I just eliminated the 9 to 5, right? I'll do a
Hmm.
so that's done. Okay, but remember, this is why we take notes in sales call. Remember, she told us about the other things that she's going to be doing. So I know I have more to go. Now, through that conversation, as we started to go down this rabbit hole, she started talking about what she feels like she needs in a mentor. And so this is great ammunition that you can use in your pitch and in your transition. Basically, someone who's there around the clock to help her out, someone who can let her know the problems that are coming up. Those words that she says to you, you're going to use them in the transition. You're going to use them in the pitch, right? In the transition,
Hmm.
you're going to say, listen, I don't think you found the right vehicle for you for right now, because one of the things that sounds like you need that you've never gotten is someone who's actually there for you on a day-to-day basis, giving you the reassurance that you need, showing you what problems can come up, but showing you how to solve them before they even appear. And I got to ask, if you had had all of that, where do you think you'd be by now if you'd started a year ago with someone like that guiding you? You're using
Hmm.
their words for them, right? So because of that, everything you say is going to hit them. And then in your pitch, when you start talking about the one-on-one support you guys offer, you're going to say things like, it's going to give you that reassurance, right? We're going to be able to identify problems before they appear and eliminate them. And it feels custom tailored to them. So this is why you take fucking notes, okay? Now, we did that. That was a side quest. We still have ecom, land flipping, and then Burr to go. So here's how I'm going to do it. Got it. That's when it makes sense. I know you said you were kind of dabbled in some stuff. What specifically have you tried in the last 9 months to be able to replace your income?
Yeah, so I tried the Burr method, and
Mm.
it was eventually it just didn't work out. Right, I got scammed, and it wasn't what I thought was going to happen.
What do you mean? What happened?
Yeah, just it was a lender, and
Mm.
I just did like literally just got scammed.
What do you mean? Like, how to understand it?
Like basically just told them that I was told that I was going to get a program, and told I was going to be taught on how to do the Bird method and invest in properties
Yeah.
and rentals, but literally just sent them the money and never heard anything.
So you went to go buy a course and they basically just disappeared.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm sorry to hear that. That sucks. I gotta ask, after having like such a bad experience like that, like what has got you keeping on? Like, why are you still reaching out to people online for help?
I think I just know that, like, and especially when I came across like your stuff, I just knew that,
Hmm.
there are people out there that are willing to help. And that's kind of how I felt,
Sure.
once I saw your content, and that's what, brought me
Yeah.
here today.
Yeah. Can I offer a suggestion for a second?
Sure.
There's a way that you can look at what happened, right? It's like, yeah, it sucks. Obviously, you don't want it to happen again. You can look at it as a victim of saying, okay, like I got screwed over and never get the help you need. But it sounds like you're on the opposite camp, right? Like you're taking the smart approach of saying, okay, I had a bad experience. However, I know that there's still people out there that can help me. What matters now is not how you made decisions in the past. It's how you're going to make decisions moving forward. And you can use that experience as a learning lesson to say, okay, here's some things I need to look out for to make sure I'm actually working with someone who's good. That's not going to happen. So I guess like, what was it specifically about us that made you feel comfortable enough to hop on a call that kind of gave you that indication that maybe we're going to be a bit better help you out compared to the experience that you had?
Yeah, I think it's a really good point. Like, I think obviously where I come from, like where I resonated with you, that you were a student athlete as well. And like, once I kind of found out your background and understood that, like I was able to resonate with it. But then I also saw your content and I saw like your student success with your clients that you're working with now. Like,
Yeah.
it just made me want to reach out and obviously not just throw this down the toilet and still try and reach my goals,
Okay. I hear you. Cool. So now we just handled that part, but I still haven't really eliminated Burr. Maybe she's going to bring up later that she's looking to another Burr program. So like, okay, here, I guess, why have you not looked into other Burr programs? Like what specifically about the Burr model do you feel like maybe did it kind of gel with you?
Yeah, I think just like, well, when I watch your video, basically like I noticed like how much money is like needed to like start up and how many rental properties you have to cash flow like what you want. So I kind of like, once I started learning more about it, I was like, like this business model isn't going to work for me.
Okay. So it's kind of like a capital constraint thing.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Okay, great. Cool. Done. All right. And then I go down the list. So what else have you looked into outside the Burr?
I tried the land flipping and basically like I just put it off to the side for now because like just a liquidity issue right now.
What do you mean?
Don't really have like the money to do that. And I kind of wanted to really get into Airbnb. Like that was my first priority choice. So I figured I'd kind of circle back to it.
Okay, totally understand. When you say like you didn't have the money to get into, like how much does it take to get into something like that?
Yeah, personally, I mean, from what I know, like the way I was doing it, like you gotta like actually invest in the property. So who I was learning it from, like I just didn't have the funds to like actually do that and like, invest in the property and then turn around and flip it,
Yeah, how much do like a typical property cost?
Yeah, I think it costed like over $15,000.
Oh wow. Okay. Yeah. No, that makes sense. Boom. So like right now, I'm also financially qualifying again because I'm trying to see what is that limit. If she told me like 3K and she's probably broke, I'm gonna have to do a hard qualifier. But because she told me 15, I think it's fair she probably has some money, not that much, right? But enough that I'm not gonna have to go super deep. So that was my subtle way of doing it. Okay, cool. I guess outside of that, was there anything else that you kind of looked into?
I looked into FBA a little bit, but didn't go deep. Like, nothing really came out from it.
Why do you feel like that was?
Honestly, like just all in all, like the Airbnb business model, like I had some previous experience with it with a cousin of mine, and like,
Okay.
I just like the business model more. So like I decided not to pursue the Amazon stuff.
Okay, great. Cool. So that's enough. She said that all times. I don't need to beat the horse, but now I do understand why she wants Airbnb, why she likes it better. Well, I got to ask, like, what was it specifically about the Airbnb model that made you feel like that might be a bit better for you to help you scale to 15K a month and replace your income compared to everything else you've tried?
Yeah, it's a good question. Well, mainly, once I really started looking at your stuff, I saw like how different the approach you had on Airbnb, like different from vacationals, like more towards corporate professionals. And I started realizing that like how quick you can actually scale. in this type of model in Airbnb. So, you know, I'm trying to move quick on this stuff. I know it's not going to happen overnight, but I figured like that really resonated with me. And, you know, if I can really go all in on this, then, you know, I feel like it would definitely work.
Cool. So do you see how we just systematically went through every single thing she's tried and why it hasn't worked, and then why this is the thing that does?
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Nice. All right.
When you say hard qualifier,
I guess for you,
what do
like,
you mean
I gotta
by
ask,
that
like,
again?
what is it about
What's up?
When you say hard qualifier, like say if a client did say, like mention something that they're broke, what do you mean by hard qualifier?
I mean, I'm gonna like figure out like if they have enough money to get something to start. So if they're like, yeah, like the land flipping was gonna cost me like $3,000 to get started, I thought, okay, got it. Well, you know, obviously Airbnb does take some money to start too, because you get the furniture and stuff like that. And we have some creative financing methods, but we typically recommend clients come into this with something, you know, around like $5,000 to maybe $10,000. Is that something you have access to like get something like this started, or would you need some time on that? It's invasive, right? It's invasive when you do that. Do you understand why that's invasive?
Why that's invasive, you said?
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. That's definitely where I felt like I should have went deeper. Like I did notice too when I got off the phone, like I didn't, because I was kind of looking at my notes. I didn't even talk about the 9 to 5 stuff, you know?
Yeah, and so listen, again, like we're gonna listen to the rest of the call. I'm not saying like, oh, that's the reason you didn't close it. What I am saying is that when you get to that level of depth in the call, like right now, the things that stand out is the fact that like so far you haven't really addressed the scam stuff enough. The believability, she's brought it up a ton of times. Like that's the big elephant in the room. Like, bro, you gotta fucking handle that, right? Like hardcore. Okay, like that's really it, right? Now that coupled with going deep enough, limiting all the options, you bring them into a position with like, wow, like I really have to do something now. I really have to make a decision, right? And they're more likely to move forward on that call compared to doing deposits, stuff like that. Okay.
Yeah.
Airbnb that, you know, kind of makes sense or make it feel like it's going to be better than ecom, the BRRRR method, you know, the land investing, everything that you tried.
Good
As a way to
question.
replace your income. Why do you think, you know, Airbnb can get you there?
You know, the direction that Airbnb is going, and rentals in general, and I actually have been looking to get into Airbnb and like the SDR game, and with like the Smokies and stuff like that. Watching your video, you have a different approach to it. It's and you're not targeting the tourists, the vacationers, and people that might come and party and tear up the place. And so that's another thing that kind of led me to like, oh, yours is a lot different, and you're actually targeting like working professionals and stuff like that.
How long have you been looking into Airbnb?
So I first dabbled in Airbnb. I was working with my cousin on an Airbnb property in the Smoky Mountains a couple years ago. He had a business partner. They both lived in Arizona. I lived here. It just didn't work out. Partnering with them.
Okay.
Yeah. We just had different mindset of doing things. And
Gotcha.
So, and it's totally fine. We're still cousins. So.
Yeah.
So that was kind of my first step into like Airbnb probably about 5 years ago. I mean, ever since then, I've been trying to kind of like figure out how to do it. But then I'm like, oh man, my head, 'cause it's just me, and trying to find out the right partner and stuff. So,
Okay. Can I ask you a last question?
Go for it.
Cool. Like 5 years, it's like a good amount of time. Like, what's really held you back from like getting started?
Honestly, it's been
Great question.
liquidity. We just sold our business, and then it's just my assets have been tied up.
Gotcha. Okay.
And and to be honest, I wanted to do it with a partner and bounce ideas off someone, and trying to find the right partner is hard.
Got it. Are you
Okay, well, two things. Again, she keeps bringing up the assets. So, like, did you open wallet her? Do you know how much money she has?
No, I don't think so.
Well, that's pretty fucking important, you know, depending on the situation, right? So, she keeps, obviously you would never do that right here. Like that would be in closing, like if you're talking about the upline, stuff like that. But she's brought up multiple times now about her assets, didn't have enough money. So I would qualify a bit hard and be like, cool, well, like, how are you like right now? And I would have, if she's like, oh, I'm okay, I'd be like, well, typically getting your Airbnb started, so you need about this and this much. Like you had solved on the form. I mean, is that so you feel like you're in a position to actually get started with? Because she's brought it up multiple times. It's like red flag, probe into it. Okay. All right.
Are you looking like as far as a partner to like do it with you, or just more so someone to hold you through the process and like learn?
Well, that's where like if you're referring to like your model in general, you even stated in the video like this is you can do it by yourself, and we're here 24/7 to help you out. If I was going out on my own doing the whole like SDR thing, like I would like a partner to help divvy up the workload and finding people. So
okay, cool.
And because they can help we can qualify for more and all that stuff.
100%. All right, cool. So like you already know about Airbnb, right? Kind of understand short-term rentals a little bit. Like why not exactly try figuring this out on your own?
Well, I might spin that question around and ask you, like, how did you find the market with working professionals?
Yeah, so I'll be honest with you. I had a mentor myself, right? I'm someone that like, I'm not gonna relate with you. Like usually don't do this type of stuff, but like as a Division I athlete, like you know, I'm always like all in or nothing. Like I never have been half out. And for me, like I always like I tried so many things I've done on my own, and I wasted so much time when I was in college. And you know, I just was making too many mistakes that wasn't allowing me to get to my goals as fast as I wanted to. So like I'll make it short, but that was like that one turning point in my life where it's like, okay, like I'm gonna go about this next thing the right way, and I'm gonna learn from someone that has walked the path and has done it already. You know, so that's kind of a little bit on me, and I'm assuming that's pretty much where you're going with it as well. I guess like where do you feel specifically then
she controlled it and you didn't answer it. And like what you were trying to do was good. Like you were trying to use an athlete analogy, which would have been a killer if it like hit. So don't let people do that shit to you. When a prospect's like, well, I'm going to spin it on you. Like they're literally trying to control the conversation. Don't do that. Do it to me. Be like, well, I'm trying to spin on you. Like, how did you go about finding markets?
Okay. Well, yeah, let me, spin the question back on you. Like, how'd you come out with finding the markets?
Yeah, that's a great question. Let me ask you this. What sports you play?
Yeah. Basketball.
Nice. Okay. Do you have a coach?
Yeah.
Why so?
Well, I had to have someone teach me the game and like how the program was going to be ran.
100%. And like, what do you feel like the benefit of having a coach was compared to trying to like go out there and ball by yourself?
Well, just like coming up with an actual game plan and, working as a team, like having someone that's going to support and lead us.
For sure. And so when you think about getting a business like this started, like, what is it about yourself where you feel like, hey, it might make more sense to also have a coach in this area of my life compared to just trying to do this on my own?
Yeah. No, I think it goes hand in hand. Like definitely have to have someone that's going to, guide the way.
For sure.
Yeah. That's killer.
Yeah, you gotta control the conversation, bro.
Yeah.
Let me ask you, don't fucking let your prospects control it, dude. Because the more they do it, they'll just go in. Like, don't let them do that shit. You lose freedom. All right.
You need the most help on this and getting started.
Your method's entirely different. And so I'm just curious about the whole method. And in the video, say you have connections with landlords and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm just curious to know about your method. I'm familiar with like the SDR areas, vacationers, but not for working professionals.
Sure. Yeah. We'll dive into this in a second. Like we do have a completely different approach on it. And that's kind of what allows us to stay so occupied month after month. Like the vacationals is like, there's such high and low seasons that it's very hard to stay fully booked. So like you might have 6 months out of the year where like,
you're selling way too hard on this, bro. You're about to fucking go off on why this is better. So what would be more powerful than, let me ask this. Why are you doing this?
I think one of two things. One, either just like trying to keep like good rapport going, or two, just trying to oversell. Exactly.
Think about it. At the core, why are you doing this? What are you trying to achieve as you're trying to sell her on this?
Like,
what's the fucking problem that you recognize? You're doing this for a reason. You're trying to solve a problem. What do you think that problem is?
Like resonating with her, like trying to like step down with her.
What do you mean?
Relate. I guess that's the word I'm looking for. Trying to relate to her.
Why are you trying to relate to her right now?
I don't know.
Okay, so I know what you're trying to say, just don't have the words at the moment for it. What you're trying to do is you understand that it's a problem that she's used to a different model of doing Airbnb, which is vacationers, and you can sense that. And so you're trying to relate, but you're just overselling. You need to get her to sell herself on it. So instead, you would just ask her, right? I got to ask you, what do you think the benefit would be of working professionals instead of only working with vacationers? Like, how do you think that would impact the profitability of the business, the occupancy levels, the consistency? She's going to start going on, talking about it, right? So that's a more nuanced thing, right? If you get someone who comes in who is just debating about doing Airbnb versus this versus that, they might not even have gotten to that level where they're thinking about vacationers versus other people, but she's been thinking about it for longer. And so she's thinking about vacationers versus working professionals. Right. So now like you have to get her to sell herself on that model, because that could be one of the things that could hold her back. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So
I basically did the talking for her. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, exactly. You don't want to do that. Instead of you doing the talking for her, you just ask her a high quality question, which would prompt her to do what you did for her. Yes. In sales, anytime you have the opportunity to, you always want to do it that way. because it's always more powerful. Right? If I can get you to come to something out of your own idea, like what I was trying to do right there when I was coaching you, is I'm trying to get you to try and figure it out. Now, you didn't have the words for it yet. It's okay.
Mm-hmm.
But when someone says something on their own, they believe it more, they trust it more. Versus if you just boom, put it on. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Like you're breaking even if lucky.
Mhm.
But like, and then in the high season, yeah, you profit well, but like how sustainable is that business model? Like with 1 unit, 2 units, 3 units, maybe with 15, 20, but like the whole point of getting into this thing is creating cash flow from the start,
Sure.
and that's kind of what steered me into this type of Airbnb business model, what I would call it. We'll dive into this shortly. So like, I guess where I'm trying to wrap my head around, so kind of just like locating those markets, how to communicate to these landlords, how to find these high demand places where, travel nurses and all these people are going to.
Mhm.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I gotta ask you, bro, where do you think you'd be if like you had the help 2 years ago to get this thing started?
Oh, I hope I would be home with my daughter and being able to continue to play basketball during the week to just kind of scale my business.
You played basketball in college?
Yeah, I did.
Nice. Where at?
U of A and then
Nice.
1 year at Utah State.
Nice. Awesome. Cool.
Yeah.
All
Where'd you
right.
play baseball?
I played at Seton Hall. in the East
Oh,
Coast.
okay. Yeah.
Yep. Big basketball.
Nice.
Big basketball.
Yeah.
How old is your daughter? Do you know?
What was that?
How old is your daughter?
How old is what?
Her daughter.
18 months old.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, it is.
Cool. Awesome. How much you think you would have made if you did have the help, to walk you through this? And let's just say a year. If you had the help, we came in with you, get this thing going, you probably have at least 5 units, How much do you think you would have made?
Well, if I'm doing your math right, 15 times 12,
Mhm.
which I mean, I can pull my calculator out and not very good on the fly, but
I'm with you.
so you're pushing 180,000 a year. So.
Yeah, sure. And do you think that would be enough for you to walk away from your job and be a stay-at-home mom and be able to play basketball on
Yeah.
weekends and do all this stuff?
Most definitely. Yeah. And
Yeah.
it would give me the flexibility to be able to live, well, in Arizona or in Utah.
Never been out over there. I gotta go check it out in Utah. They're great things.
Utah's beautiful in the summer.
I would have dove in hard because now you're talking about identity, right? Like, so that was really good. I'm just telling you to layer on, right? If her daughter was older, it would make more sense to say something like, well, what do you think that would mean to your daughter for you to be home for her? She's 18 months old. She's not going to remember shit, right? So probably wouldn't say that. However, what I would have said there is, and what would that mean to you to know that you're the type of mother that created the situation so that you could be there for your daughter in some of her most transformative years? Instead of being at work at some desk, you were there for her. This is about her fucking identity as a mother.
Mm-hmm.
And it's important to do that. She'd be like, yeah, I think it's so important. Maybe she might even spill about how maybe she didn't have it growing up, whatever. And then you can use that in the end, right? As a way to hold her accountable to what she said that she wanted. Because now it's about her identity. Identity is the highest driver of behavior. So if she's doing this because she's doing it to become a better mother, she's more likely to act in alignment with that and not step out of line, because people don't want to break the identity of who they see themselves as. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
Okay.
That's what I heard. All right, cool. Like, I guess, Brooke, like, I got to ask, like, I know you mentioned, like, obviously you relate a little bit, but like, there are a lot of people out there coaching on Airbnb,
Mhm.
whether it's the vacation method or if it is what we kind of do here. Like, what specifically stood out, about us and made you want to really, see what we have to offer?
The way that you're going about it and who you're targeting.
Okay.
You're targeting working professionals and you're not targeting vacationers.
Cool. Love that. Sweet. And we're going to dive into this here now in a second, but like, I'm just taking some notes right here. And like, Brooke, I definitely think there's a way I can help you out, like replace the income, like starting with $10,000 a month. That's scratching the surface with this thing, and the best part of this business is being able to build a team around your units and like run this thing remotely.
Yeah.
Right. And I'll dissect what I'm talking about here shortly, but like, I actually think there's a way I can help you out. What I think the real issue is right now, and you heard me probably talk about this in the videos, like the vehicle you're in, right? As cliche as it sounds, because like so many people say, like, it's true. Like, what is that boat that's going to drive us to the destination and get us to our end goal? Like, we have to find that vehicle. You know what I mean? And like, Warren Buffett always says this, like I said this in the video too, like I've said it so many times, it's so cliche, but like it's so true every time I say it. It's like kind of reminds me all the time. Like, it doesn't matter how hard you row, like it matters what boat you get into, So with that being said, like, where do you want to go from here? Like, I can walk you through the entire process.
Not bad. Transition can be a lot better. And you've seen my videos of my transition, like rewatch the transition. Like, you could have fucking slammed me. The transition, I believe, is one of the most powerful opportunities to really create the culmination of why everything that they've done hasn't been able to get to where they want to go. And why your thing is going to be the thing. Right? So before I just rip you on the transition, what do you take away from the discovery now rewatching it, knowing what you know about how the rest of the call?
Definitely first thing, like you said, like I would have got her to talk a little bit more on like the scam part, and what I would have dove deeper on that and like comparing ourselves to them. And then I would have, in the solution, I would have basically like fixed those paths, all the things that she's tried. Like, I really would have went into each one. I didn't go through the 9 to 5. And I didn't really go through what she's tried already deep enough to make her understand that, all right, Airbnb is what she needs to do next. So that,
For sure.
and then I think too, you said it best, like her identity, like after rewatching the call, like she's really doing it for her daughter. Like that's her end goal. Like, yeah, to replace the income, but like she's really doing it, to just have time with her, So I think recapping those three things definitely could have done better on all those parts. And I probably think I kind of know what you're going to say about the transition, like, which I haven't been doing now that I'm thinking about it, like using all of that and tying it into the transition. Is that where you're going to go with it?
Yeah, it makes it a lot more powerful. And you hit the nail on the head. I really want to make clear the biggest thing I think is that you didn't handle scam stuff, and then you didn't go deep enough. Like by depth, what I mean is exactly what you said. You didn't properly eliminate all this, and then you also didn't tie it back to identity. You have to do that to be able to deliver the transition effectively. And so what it would have looked like in a better way would have been something like this. Hey, Brooke, I've been taking some notes. Can I just give you some like open honest thoughts? Like, yeah, sure. Look, helping you scale this thing up, get into $15,000 a month so you can spend more time with your daughter. I'm confident I can help you do that. Okay. If I'm being frank here, what I see as the real issue, it's about the vehicle you're in. You remember that quote from the video from Warren Buffett? It's not about how hard you row, but rather what book you get in. Yeah, it's kind of that, right? Because think about it. See, with what you're doing right now, it's not that obviously software sales doesn't work. Like clearly you're making great money. The problem is this. How much money do you make when you don't go to work? Like, can you just like call off for like 3 months and like get paid, or what happens?
Yeah, no, I make no money.
Yeah. And can you just like spend the entire day with your daughter right now? Or do you have to actually be somewhere doing something?
No, I got to be at work making the money.
100%. That's the point. Because like right now, what you're doing is like you're trading your time for money. Okay. And you're making great money, but it's not just about the money, is it? It's also about the time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. So I can understand why you've been looking into other opportunities, like some of the stuff that we talked about, to be able to not just replace your income, but more importantly, to get your time back. I just don't think you found the right vehicle for you for right now, or else you'd already be there. We wouldn't be on this call. You'd be making $15K a month and you'd be spending your time with the daughter. Because with everything that you've looked into, look, I want to make clear, it's not that they don't work. I just don't think you found the right thing for you at this moment, right? Because like we talked about with the e-com stuff, you had said it's pretty capital intensive, right? Obviously, it's pretty capital intensive. And because of that, like it didn't make a lot of sense. But more importantly, it didn't really kind of scratch the itch of your interest, right? If you're not interested in something, you're not going to do well at it, right? You feel a higher affinity towards Airbnb. And with the land flipping stuff, again, it's not that it doesn't work. Obviously, people make it work. But again, it goes back to the capital constraints, right? You're telling me it costs you $15,000 to get a property. It's like, well, how are you going to go buy a bunch of those, and flip enough to consistently generate $15K in profit per month, right? It's like, is that something you can go and do right now? No, I can't. Exactly, right? And then with the burst stuff too, it comes back to the same thing, capital intensive, right?
Mm-hmm.
See, what you need is to be in a vehicle where, number one, there's a low capital requirement. So now I'm going to do the opposite. Okay? There's a low capital requirement, meaning you can come in and get started and not have to shell out tens of thousands of dollars. Okay. Number two, you need to be able to do it alongside what you're currently doing right now. Okay. That way you still have the time to make the income that you need and then slowly transition into this over time. I say that because a lot of 9-to-5ers, their fear is, I got to go all in, I got to go all out. That shit doesn't work. If they feel like that, they won't buy. It has to be an and thing. Oh, you can do this alongside what you're currently doing. It has to be framed that way. Okay. And then number three, it needs to be a part of a larger term vision. Because look, you're not just doing this for the money. Because if it was just about the money, there's a million things that you could do. You're doing this to become the mother that you want to be, that you know that your daughter needs from you. And that means finding something that's actually flexible enough where while you do have the business up and running, you have your time back and you're putting in a few hours a week. You're not doing what you're doing now, working 40, 50, sometimes 60 hours a week, taking the work home with you. Okay. So I can walk you through that process, like A to Z, of specifically, how I'd help you do this if you like. But you tell me where you want to go from here.
Yeah. No, let's definitely dive into it. You're right.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, that's transition. Right.
Yeah.
And aside from that, the other things I want you to take away, like Did you feel my conviction?
Mm-hmm.
Did you feel my energy?
Yeah.
Did I try and sell you?
No.
No, I just felt passionate about what I was doing, and I explained in a matter-of-fact way, using your own words, but what she's tried hasn't worked, and why this seems like it'd be a better option. I tied back to identity, right? Like, sales is a transference of energy. Like, they can feel your conviction. Like, that's to get people to buy you. Like, the reason I did so well when I was in door-to-door sales, I wasn't the master objection handler, wasn't all these other things. I just really fucking convicted at the energy, and you haven't. So I'm gonna bring it out. Okay.
Cool. Mm-hmm.
All right.
So it's like easy on how I can help you out and replace your income.
Yeah. I'm curious to learn. And I'm the type of person, if I have questions, I'll ask right away.
Sure.
So hopefully that's all right.
Of course. Any questions you have, like we'll go over everything. I want to get on the same page with you. So we'll go from there, right?
Okay. Perfect.
All right, cool. All right. So what this is going to be, it's going to be a 3-step process. All right. It's going to take you from having learned about Airbnb, right, which you already know a little bit already, short-term rentals, that space, but actually to start earning with it. Okay. And it's from going from trading your time for money to ultimately, replacing that income and buying back your time and doing what you want to do. Right. So I want you to go ahead and write down 1, 2, and 3.
Okay.
Okay. You can leave those spaces between each number. Next, number 1, I want you to write down done for you deals. So this is going to be the process that we're going to use to remove 80% of the work off the plate. All right.
Okay.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I've been able to build a multi-6-figure Airbnb portfolio because I negotiate deals all around the country. Like I know where to go. I know where not to go. I've tried the vacational rentals. I wasn't a fan of them. I know exactly how to get the deals that we're looking for. All right. So what we're going to do is you're not spinning your wheels, trying to jumpstart this business and find a market and do all the market research. We're going to go ahead and find your market for you, show you why it's in high demand. And we're going to land you your first profitable Airbnb unit in the first 45 days or less. Okay. So we're going to work with you one-on-one and show you, okay, bro, this is the market that we picked for you. This is the closest one to you if it's not in your backyard. And this is exactly why. We're going to crunch numbers, showing you how we're crunching numbers. So eventually if you want to jump to a new market, you can absolutely do that. But we're going to use our relationships with landlords and we're going to get that first property for you, negotiate lease and hand it off to you. Okay. So that's in the first 45 days that we start working together. All right. Okay. So essentially if we were to take the hardest part off your plate, but work with you one-on-one and kind of speed ramp the process to show.
This could have been a lot better. How do you think it could have been better?
Shorter.
So when you're pitching, you're going to have the thing, done for you deals. You're going to have the benefit of that, and then the benefit of the benefit. Okay, so remember that is when you say done for you deals, the benefit of that is that you don't have to do the work on your own. We're doing it for you. Okay. The benefit of the benefit is that way you're able to actually spend more time with your daughter because you're not busy trying to find units, right? It's more of an emotional benefit. Okay. Let me show you how I would have pitched this point without knowing anything. Okay. So cool. So next to number 1, I want you to write down done for you deals. Okay. So this is going to be the process that's going to remove 80% of the work off your plate. Look, we own properties all over the country. We've negotiated hundreds of thousands of dollars for deals, not just for ourselves, but obviously for our clients. One of the biggest areas that new Airbnb hosts get caught up in is trying to find their very first deal. And like you said, the idea of serving traveling professionals is kind of new and you don't understand that process compared to serving vacationers. And so the last thing that I want for you is to be stuck spinning your wheels, spending weeks trying to figure out, is this a good market? Where should I go? Trying to negotiate these deals when we already have those built-in connections with the landlords to get you your first profitable Airbnb unit in the next 45 days. So what we're going to do specifically for you is we're going to leverage our network of landlords. We're going to negotiate the leases for you to get the best possible deal and place you in proven markets with proven demand. That way, you're not spinning your wheels trying to figure out where to go and how to do this, but instead you can focus your time on the things that matter most, which is going to be hanging out with your daughter, playing some basketball. Okay? So if we really took the hardest part off your plate, which is getting your first deal for you, how do you think that would help you out?
Yeah, it'd be tremendous.
So what is different about how I pitched it compared to how you pitched it?
You basically, used exactly what she's looking for. You and tied in like what she needs help on. And then you really highlighted that, exactly what we're doing here with the first part, getting that first deal, showing her good markets, proven demand, all that stuff. Okay. Which I haven't been doing. Like this is next level stuff. Like I kind of just been saying every pitch the same thing.
Fuck, dude. You should do like I do. All right. But let me tell you why this is so important. Because you like hot dogs or hamburgers?
Hamburgers.
When you eat hamburgers, do you eat it raw with fucking nothing on it? Or you put some mayo or ketchup or mustard? What do you do?
No, I load that shit up.
Yeah, exactly. Because it goes down your throat easier. It's easier to eat. Your pitch is like a fucking dry Bubba burger.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
You got nothing, dude. You're just like, here's what we do.
Yeah.
We need to add some condiments to it, some extras. Okay.
Yeah.
What I did is I took back things from the discovery that she said and I layered them in here because that makes it feel more tailored. And I also talked about problems that would come up. When you give someone a problem and then create the solution, it becomes more valuable. So I gave her the problem. Hey, most Airbnb hosts, they struggle with XYZ thing. Here's how we solve that. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
Problems that she didn't know she was going to have that we now solve. That creates value. All right.
Show you like how we're doing it and get that first deal for you. How would that help you out?
Oh, no, that's like giving you the playbook for the other team.
Yeah, for sure.
So.
Cool. All right, you ready for number 2?
Yep.
All right, I want you to write down arbitrage and power formula. All right, so this is going to be the A to Z process and actually building out your Airbnb portfolio. All right, so next we're going to show you the exact systems and processes that are going to allow you to only spend 5 to 10 hours a week working on the business. All right, because like truth be told, you have to put the right people and process in place. And this is where a lot of people go wrong in, quite frankly, any business, like specifically Airbnb. Like we're going to show you how to find the best cleaner so you never clean a unit yourself. Okay, we're going to show you how to automate the guest communication process, which is going to alone eliminate 90% of the workload. All right, and once you do this, like this is what's going to allow you to like direct your time and energy into getting more properties and building more relationships and building a team around your units and scaling the portfolio to 15, 20, 30 units. All right. And like I said, like this is where a lot of people go wrong is like, yeah, they might pick up a unit or two, but they don't incorporate the right automations and systems. And now they've kind of created a business that's running them.
Right.
Okay. So with where we're at right now, how would this second step help you out?
Man, that's ass, dude. You got to go back and you need to watch all my pitches and watch how I say shit and then do it next to you. Like, it's just too, like, there's nothing there. It's too dry. There's obviously a lot to work on, you know what I mean? But like, this is important. So let's go back and see how we could have done this differently. Okay. Like, all right, cool. So next, number 2, I want you to write down arbitrage empire formula. All right. Now, what this is going to be specifically is the actual A to Z process of building out your entire Airbnb portfolio. Okay. Because one of the areas that a lot of new hosts struggle with, especially when they're starting, is they don't have any systems or processes. Right. And so what most hosts do is they get into this to only have to work a few hours a week, but now they find themselves in basically another full-time job, right? Where they're spending their entire day talking to guests, dealing with cleaners, right? But that's not the point. We want to build this in a way where you can actually only work on it 5, 10 hours a week and have the time to be with your daughter. Again, always tie in that thing that's the most important, the anchor of the conversation, the emotional driver, okay? Right? And so the way that we do that is we're going to put the right people and process in place that's going to eliminate 90% of your workload. And we do that through using the proper systems, automations, and also delegation, meaning the cleaners, the pricing software, etc. Okay? Because too many hosts fall victim to just trying to do everything on their own, cleaning the unit, having to do all these things, talking to the guests. Your time is better spent focusing on not only scaling and finding more deals, but more importantly, being with your family, hanging out, doing the stuff you want to do. That's why we're going to help you install the proper systems and automations in place that are going to allow you to do just that. Okay. How do you feel like this second step would help you out? Okay. Now let me show you something. So obviously that was off the cuff, change a little bit. One thing I want to point out in my question, I said, how do you feel like this would help you out? Not how do you think? The words that you use affect the answers that they give you. If I ask them, like, what do you think about this? Like, you think. If I ask you, how do you feel? You feel. When someone buys something, it's an emotional decision justified by logic. So I want to use the words that will prompt whatever I'm trying to create. If I want them to think, I'm going to say think. If I want them to feel, I say feel. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Now, what did I do in that second pillar, that second point that was different than what you did that was more beneficial?
Well, you highlighted obviously what most hosts have issues with and that they don't incorporate these systems that we're going to help them out with. And then you tied in, of course, her end goal, which is spending more time with her family, and why, how important these systems are and automations, and how we're going to help her do that to buy her time back.
Right. So 2 big things there. One, I use the us versus them frame. Hey, most hosts, so that's them, do this, and they get these types of results. This is what we do. When you use us versus them, that's how you create value. Because what you're doing is you're separating yourself from the other people. It also, when I say create value, I mean, it makes you sound more valuable, but also raises status. Because you're saying, well, if they do this, we do this. Right? The next thing is, yes, I tie it back to her big goal, the big emotional thing. Remember, I've told you this before, but when you find that thing, that goal vein of why the person's on the call, why they want to do this, whatever it might be, that's what everything is about. Everything goes back to that one central thing that they're trying to do. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Cool. Because that reorients to them why they're doing this. Oh, I'm doing this so I can take care of my dog. Like, that's my main thing.
Well, I think that's kind of the future of where everything's going and headed, especially with AI.
Yeah, 100%. Cool. All right. Now, lastly, next number 3, I want you to write down scaling. All right. So what we're here to do is all about traction. Like, I want to give you the most clear, predictable pathway of like where we're heading. Okay. What I don't want to happen is this becomes something where you're working 40, 50, 60 hours a week. Like, that's not the point, right? The point is to build a business that only takes 5 to 10 hours a week to run. All right. It's from going from being an employee to an employer. I know I mentioned this again before, but like having a business you run versus a business that runs you, like there's a massive difference there.
Yeah.
Like, again, that's where a lot of people go wrong. Like as entrepreneurs or just business owners, like you can't be working in the business. You got to pull yourself out and you got to work on the business. That's what buys back your time. Right. And the way we're going to do this is we're going to identify the bottlenecks before they appear. And we're just going to eliminate them. We do this with the proper systems, automations, and delegations, like I mentioned. Okay. Again, like once you do this, now you can focus your time into getting more profits, scaling the business, right? You've outsourced everything, guest communication, cleaning, the team, your boots on the ground, all this stuff. Now you got your time back. Now we continue putting the pedal to the metal and getting more profits. All right. So here's how exactly we're going to help you do this specifically. All right. I'm sure like what you're aware, right?
Okay. Now I want you to redo that one point to me based on how I did the other two.
Okay. All right. So basically what we're here to do is like all about traction, right? I want to give you a clear, predictable pathway. What I don't want to happen is this become something we're working 40, 50, 60 hours a week on. Like the whole point is to implement these systems, implement these softwares so you could eventually buy back that time, right? Spend more time with your daughter, right? And continue scaling the business, right? That's the end goal of what we're after. The way we're going to do that is we're just going to incorporate these systems like right from the jump, right? Yeah, was that better?
100% definitely better.
Like highlighting
also, yes, still need some work, but the fact that you bring in like, hey, we're doing this and you can get your time back for the dog. Like that's what I'm trying to get you to take away. So like talk about the things that are important to her. Okay. Like that's the direction you want to start going in. All right. Like it's kind of like if I gave you a cake with no icing, that's what your pitch is like.
Yeah.
I don't know who eats that, like fucking vegans or something,
Yeah.
Like they're not allowed to eat frosting or shit. But it's the icing is when you talk about the benefit of the benefit. It's like that deep emotional reason why what they're doing and how you tie back onto that one specific point, how it's going to help them do that. That's the icing of the cake. Okay.
Like most people do. They throw you in a course with a bunch of information, feed you out to the wolves. All right, like go get them. You got all the information you need, right?
Yeah.
Listen, I'm not saying courses are bad because like I've learned off course. Like I've been there, trust me. But to be honest with you, like if information alone was all you needed, you'd already be, making $35,000 a month and replace your income years ago, right? Because like it's just how the internet is. Like everyone's consumed a ton of information.
Yeah.
So what you need is not more information; it's implementation, right? Working with someone that has been there, done that, and who can guide you through the entire process. It's exactly what we do here at the Arbitrage Empire. All right. So we're gonna work with you one-on-one.
Okay, I'm gonna give you something that's different. Like that was totally fine, but just I want you to pick up on some higher level things. When you have a connection with someone that is like if I talk to other salespeople, like it's so easy to close it because like, I know everything about like what they feel like when they're not doing well, and I'm like, bro, I know, I've been there, right? I'm not a student athlete though, so like as a student athlete, like one of the way better analogy would have been like, look, when you learn how to ball, did you read a textbook? Or did you get on the field? You're on the field. If information alone was enough, I don't think we'd be on this call right now. Because it sounds like over the last few months, you've consumed a lot of information. See, what you need, it's not more information at this point. What you need is implementation. Just like you have when you were on your come up, you need that coach that's there for you, guiding you, training you, teaching you, and actually getting out there in the field and doing the thing. That's what we do. If you have that analogy, it would hit a lot more because it's like very personalized. It's like that's the stuff you have to pick up on. Like it takes time, but like you're speaking to that person when you do that. And when you speak exactly to that person, more likely to get stuff across the line. Because like, wow, like this person, like they really get me. They trust me. That's what really builds trust. Like, wow, this person understands me. It's like they can read my mind or something. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
for the next 4 months. It's 120 days. All right. And what that's going to look like is we have multiple weekly group Zoom calls. So small size, you come on in, right, with all the clients that we're working on currently. Okay. We workshop anything you got, whether it's, evaluating future Airbnb properties, planning on interior design, hiring cleaners, anything you need, we can workshop in there. Okay. It's absolutely awesome. There's a ton of valuable people in there that might be ahead of you that you can learn from. Like when you cross that bridge that they're at, like it's absolutely awesome. So we have those calls twice a week, same time, same day every week. All right. Now it's important to us is I don't want you to wait days in between to get support from those meetings. Okay. Because we have those twice a week, like I said. So we're going to give you 24/7 access via Slack with a one-on-one account manager. Okay. Do you know what Slack is by any chance?
Yeah, I use that.
That's fine. I just throw that out because some people won't know. And then if they don't know, it's going to cause confusion. And then if you cause confusion when you're trying to sell someone something, then you need to think about it. So I would say we're going to give you 24/7 access to your own one-on-one account manager. They don't even know how to work.
Is that for work?
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. We kind of just use it for like the messaging. It's like super easy. So basically, I give you your own one-on-one account manager. I'm going to be in there as well. So it'll be us three. Okay. This way we can reduce your feedback loop from a matter of days to a matter of minutes.
Okay.
All right. So you have access to the weekly group Zoom calls. That's for a full year. Okay. But for 120 days to 4 months, you have 24/7 access to us via Slack. Okay. We're also going to be meeting with you one-on-one, whether it's weekly, whenever you want. Like if you want to meet multiple times a week, you can absolutely do that. Just like what we're doing right now, and like showing you, like, okay, here's the market we're taking. Crunching numbers. This is how we do it. Like the all ins and outs and like what you need to know. So like, yeah, while we're finding that unit for you and like doing everything on our back end, like you're learning along the way. Okay. You're also going to have access to the arbitrage empire system. That's the A to Z process on building out the business. Okay. Like I have a program where it's literally step by step with over 45 videos. There might be even more in there now because I add to it pretty frequently, but it's basically step by step. So like business setup, sales, marketing, team setup, furnishing, like step by step videos that like while we're meeting with you.
You're just overselling. Be like, and when you oversell, it shows your uncertainty. It shows like your fear. It shows like how much you want it. So all you gotta do, bro, just talk a little bit less. Just be like, cool. Then you're gonna access to our arbitrage empire system. Now that's the A to Z blueprint of actually building a business. But really, like the core of what we're doing is the fact that we're working with you one-on-one. Shut the fuck up. Cool.
Yeah.
I want to tell you something. I think this is 100% better, but I need to realign your expectations. Closing takes a lot of effort to learn. Like very concentrated, consistent effort. I think within 90 days, if you could be like, yo, I'm going to fucking hog wild, become the best closer, like, dude, we can fucking jack up your closing rate. But just from watching this, it's like, cool, there was a lot of stuff we talked about the scrimmage we got to work on, but also the pitch. I'm going to tell you what it's going to take for you to be able to do this at the highest level. It's going to be like daily role plays, like daily call reviews. It's going to be you taking your best call next to your worst call, list them side by side. It's going to be you taking a call from me that I closed and you felt was like, oh, this is really good compared to one of the calls you didn't, and watch them. It's going to be you repeating the phrases back to you that you're seeing every day. Like you should put a block in your calendar for practice only, because it just takes so many reps. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And you have the building blocks and like you're absolutely making improvements. But if you really want to accelerate and like you want this month to be that month, then you got to say, dude, I'm going to fucking hour and a half a day, 90 minutes every day. I'm hitting. Hit me up more for more call reviews, right? But like how much are you learning right now?
A lot. I think too, you think the best way to do that would be, like you said, like put calls side by side of my best calls and then my worst calls and then your like closing calls and mine.
Yeah, vary. Like when you train, like it doesn't always have to be the same thing, but like watch them side by side, because like that is how you can see the difference. That's how you can start to train yourself when, oh, I need to do this. And then fucking role play it with yourself, right? Mm-hmm. Or have Andrew do it and or message me so we can meet a little more frequently and I can come on and do it with you, because that's when you're going to be able to like correct the behavior. But you have to first see it. Because like we watched the pitch and we're like, oh shit, like we could definitely got to work on this area. We didn't know that before. Make sense?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, bro, just like it's like if I try to teach you a new fucking sport, you'd be like, all right, it's gonna take me a fucking long time. Or it's like, I don't know anything about fucking baseball, but like if you're always in outfield and then they're like, all right, bro, now you're first base, like that's your position. Like you'd be like, all right, I'm gonna train like really hard for like, I don't know, fucking 90 days. And then you get it. And like you are getting it. I'm just saying, like, just be a little more intentional about your training period. And that's how you'll like really accelerate. And bro, the best shit you can do is like watch my calls too. Because everything I'm telling you, I just do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. You one-on-one and working with you, you're also learning on your own. And like, if you need to go back and like watch a video of how I set up my pricing or how I did this, like you can actually do that. Okay. But the core thing of what we're doing here is getting that first unit for you, right? And working with you one-on-one to build this out. All right. Okay. What specific questions on like the process that we just went over, like, do you have for me?
Yeah. So from my understanding, this whole system, so we don't necessarily own the property. We are renting it from landlords. And so is our name going to be on the lease, or how is that negotiated?
Is that in your pre-call stuff?
Not the like business name on the lease. That's not. But like us leasing, subleasing. No, it's the first time.
Okay. If you get it again, I put on, I mean, it's a good question. I would, if you made the Gamma doc, I mean, I would literally just put a question like that question, just answer it. Make a little video. It's easy enough.
Good question. So yeah, so we don't own them, right? We're basically subleasing them, and you're gonna create an LLC. So on all your leases, your LLC name, your business name is gonna go on the lease.
Let's see. Okay. And are you negotiating prices with landlords or what's?
Yeah. So when we crunch our numbers, like I have something called the market research calculator. So it's pretty cool. Like we'll show you how to like basically all future properties that you are prospecting, like you could punch into the calculator and it's gonna basically break down exactly like estimating how much we're gonna make on a month-to-month basis. Okay. So if the properties that we're going after, and like say like we really want this property, and I'll teach you ways to negotiate the lease, like whether it's signing a multi-year lease if we know like all right, this is absolutely gonna crush in this area, like we want to get this, like let's see if we can knock $250 off rent, right? We'll negotiate the lease, especially if it's your first unit, but like 9 out of 10 times, like
I would talk a little bit less right there.
Okay.
And instead, she's like, "Are you negotiating price with landlord?" I'd be like, "Yeah, 100%. We do all that for you." What other questions do you have specifically? So what's important when you're in closing is you want to answer as briefly as you can, and then also follow up with questions so you can control it. Okay. And like you gotta, it's like a wild animal. Like you have to keep them on track. So short answers, control conversation by asking questions.
the relationships we have with these landlords is they know what we're doing. Like we already have most of these from them. Yeah. So like, and if it's not like we'll absolutely like fill them in, like do all that on our end. But like I'll show you, like as you scale and as you continue getting more properties, like how you can negotiate, leases yourself and like get free security deposit, get free rent. Because that's like a massive part of scaling the business. Right? Negotiating that stuff. We'll show you that. But yeah.
So and then tax wise, so I know owning the property, there's a lot of things doing it this way. I'm not familiar with any tax strategies for.
See how she's like starting to go off? Whereas if you control the conversation, you're like, "Yep, we negotiate everything. What other specific questions you have for me?" And then if you start to sense that they're just like going like super nitty gritty, answer the question and then just start going into closing. Instead, I would just like this, be like, "Cool. So let me ask you this. On a scale of like 1 to 10, 1 being you hate this, 10 being this amazing, like where do you feel like you're at specifically on the process? To regain control and get them focused on like we're talking about this one thing right now. This isn't like help me with questions time. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So like here's like my thing. I'm like, why I got this? Because like now I'm planning on buying soon, and that's kind of the best way to like prevent taxes, like owning properties and then owning like a short-term rental. That's like the cream crop, right? But like unfortunately you can't really do that because you don't own the property. But like you're running a business, so like you can write off like just about everything. Like I'll just write off like everything. So like that's a plus of course in any business, but like you can write off travel, even stuff for business. Like there's so many corresponding things that you can include. Like even if you're just traveling for vacation or like dinners, like you can write it all off. But like specifically for tax stuff, like you can't really get anything crazy because you don't own it. But
Okay, so just typical.
Good question.
Yeah, there's a ton. I got an awesome CPA. I'll be happy to free up to them. I guess for you specifically, like when you think about everything we just spoke about, on a scale of 1 to 10.
Okay. How many properties do you have?
Now she's questioning you. So skepticism, right? Like, and again, because you had, this is what I just want you to take away from this section is don't have those pauses. You have to, when you are closing and they ask you a question and your answer with a question, so you control the conversation or else they're going to start going on this type of shit, right?